Let me ask you a question, and I want you to be honest. Is your dog just a pet? Or have you ever looked at them and felt they were something more? If you've ever sensed a flash of impossible understanding in their eyes, a moment of intuition that defies logic, I'm here to tell you that you are not imagining it. You're witnessing the unfolding of a blueprint for the future, one that was drawn up almost a century ago by a man who saw our present time while he was asleep. His name was Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, and between 1910 and 1944, he made over 14,000 predictions from a deep trance state with stunning accuracy. He foresaw the fall of the stock market, 2 global conflicts, and even the existence of a worldwide information network long before the internet was a spark of an idea, but one of his most profound visions has been largely overlooked. Until now. A vision about dogs, which is happening right now, in your living room, on your street, across the globe. Cayce's visions weren't just about human events. He saw the spiritual roadmap for the animal kingdom, and he was crystal clear on one point: dogs hold a unique, vital role. The 4-legged companions will awaken, Cayce stated in a 1943 reading, when the world's own vibration shifts. They will act as conscious links between our world and the unseen. They are masters in disguise, here to show humanity what true, unconditional love really is. Cayce saw dogs as living spiritual instruments, finely tuned to sense subtle energies, anticipate future events, and even heal with their presence alone. He prophesied they carried ancient abilities that humans had long forgotten, abilities that would reawaken at a critical point in our history. And here's where it gets chillingly specific. Cayce pinpointed the moment this great canine awakening would begin. He said the first stirrings would appear when humanity was plunged into unprecedented global crises, widespread disease, environmental upheaval, rapid technological disruption, and a collective search for deeper meaning. Ring any bells? In one of his most powerful visions, Cayce outlined 3 clear stages of this canine evolution. The first would be the capacity to sense illness and foresee events. The second would be the emergence of silent, telepathic communication with their humans. The third, and most transformative, would turn dogs into powerful emotional energy balancers, able to neutralize negativity and help heal deep emotional wounds. When the talking machines connect all humans, Cayce prophesied in 1944, a stunningly accurate description of the internet. The dogs will begin their true mission. They will cease to be mere pets and become our active partners in raising human consciousness. What makes this vision so powerful is Cayce's belief that many dogs born during this era of awakening are, in fact, highly evolved souls who have chosen to be here as animals to support us. Wise guides living in our homes. But here is the single most important thing to understand. Cayce wasn't talking about a far-off sci-fi future. He was describing our world right now. The signs he spoke of 80 years ago are all around us, happening with breathtaking speed. Dogs sniffing out cancers before any scan. Pets who seem to know exactly when their owner is in silent distress, even miles away. Animals that can calm a tense room just by walking into it. Countless stories of what seems like mind-to-mind communication. This is not a series of happy accidents. It's the activation of a cosmic plan. So, the question is no longer if your dog is more than just a pet. The question is, are you ready to see who they truly are? Because after you understand what Cayce saw, you'll never look at your best friend the same way again. The canine awakening is here, and it's likely already happening right under your own roof. Back in 1944, deep in one of his final trance states, Edgar Cayce delivered a prophecy that silenced the room. With a voice altered by the profound depth of his vision, he began to map out a future where dogs would play a role no one at the time could have imagined. I see the guardians on 4 legs coming into their power, Cayce declared, his words sending a shiver through all who were present. As the earth shifts to a new frequency, dogs become the living bridges between realities. They are no longer just animals, but teachers in fur coats, sent to ground humanity in unconditional love and spiritual truth. The prophecy laid out 3 distinct phases, or waves, of this canine awakening. The first wave, he said, would begin as humanity itself started a mass spiritual search for meaning, which he timed for the turn of the 21st century. In this phase, dogs would begin to demonstrate abilities to heal through energy and to sense disease long before medical technology could. The second wave would be even more profound. Casey envisioned dogs building direct telepathic links with their people, responding to intentions before a single word was spoken. They would show up at their human side at the precise moment of emotional need, as if directed by an unseen, loving intelligence. And the third, most powerful wave would reveal dogs as true, emotional alchemists. They would possess the innate ability to clear negative and heavy energies from homes, from hospitals, and from people suffering from deep trauma. Casey saw this as their power to transform hurt into healing, simply by being present. What makes this prophecy so staggering is the world it was born into. This was 1944. The world was at war. Dogs were tools used for work, for guarding. The idea that they had a spiritual purpose or could be therapeutic agents was utterly foreign, almost laughable to the scientific mindset of the era. The sleeping prophet was even more precise, describing the kinds of dogs that would lead this charge. He saw that while both purebreds and mixed breeds would awaken, it was the rescued and adopted dogs that would have the most potent connection to this spiritual mission. It was as if the act of being saved unlocked a profound desire to serve. In that same session, Casey delivered a bombshell. He claimed that many of the dogs arriving in our families during this period are not new souls. They are ancient, evolved beings who have consciously chosen to incarnate as dogs to aid in our human evolution. They are, essentially, angels pretending to be pets. But the prophecy came with a stark warning. Casey foresaw that many people would be blind to these changes. They would dismiss these incredible abilities as simple instinct or odd coincidences. But for those with open hearts and minds, they would be invited into an extraordinary partnership with their canine guides. The most remarkable part of Casey's vision was his timing. He linked the start of this phenomenon to a period when humanity would grapple with massive global threats, pandemics, climate crisis, and a disorienting acceleration of technology. This is not a prophecy about the future. It is a news report about today. If you share your home with a dog, think about the last few years. Have you noticed them acting differently? Perhaps they stick closer to you, seem to know you're coming home long before you arrive, or have become unusually sensitive to certain people or places. These are not random quirks. They are the first tremors of Casey's prophecy shaking our world. Since the early 2000s, veterinarians worldwide started noticing a strange trend. Dogs, once predictable, began exhibiting levels of intuition that couldn't be explained by science. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, a veterinarian specializing in animal behavior, cataloged over 300 cases of what he termed predictive empathy, a dog's ability to sense their owner's emotional state before any outward sign was visible. One of the clearest cases involved a woman named Clara from Chicago. Her beagle Leo began behaving oddly. Whenever Clara's blood sugar was about to drop dangerously low, Leo, who had zero medical training, would start frantically licking her hands and whining until she tested herself. It was like he could read the hidden language of my body. Clara said, "He knew what was happening inside me before I did. I realized Leo wasn't just a pet, he was my guardian." But the signs reach far beyond just emotional sensing. Researchers at Duke University have documented numerous cases of dogs detecting illnesses with incredible precision. Not just the well-known cancer detection, but conditions like epilepsy, narcolepsy, and even severe depressive episodes. The story of Bailey, a 4-year-old lab mix, went viral after she began obsessively nudging her owner, John's, back for weeks. John assumed it was just a strange habit until Bailey's nudging became more forceful. A visit to the doctor revealed a small, early-stage melanoma, precisely where Bailey had been pushing. Animal rescue shelters also became unwitting witnesses to this shift. Dogs that were once overlooked or deemed difficult began to form instant, profound bonds with particular people who came to visit. It seemed as though the dogs were actively choosing their new families. Maria Sanchez, a shelter manager, explains, "We stopped saying people adopt dogs. It became clear the dogs were adopting people. They would walk straight up to individuals who were grieving, going through a divorce, or battling illness. It's like they have a built-in radar for finding a heart that needs mending." Another blatant sign was the explosion in certified therapy dogs. Between 2010 and 2020, the use of dogs for emotional support grew by over 400% worldwide. But here's the amazing part. Many of these dogs started demonstrating these healing abilities naturally, without any formal training. Hospitals saw visiting dogs bypass healthy, cheerful people to lie down next to patients at critical moments in their recovery. Nurses learned to use this canine intuition as an informal diagnostic tool to identify who needed extra emotional care. Furthermore, research centers began to document dogs reacting to natural disasters with far more advance notice. Before, a dog might get anxious an hour before an earthquake. Now, some dogs are alerting their owners up to 48 hours in advance. What's most incredible is that these signs are appearing everywhere. It's not about a specific breed, age, or location. These latent abilities are bubbling up in all kinds of dogs, from poodles in city high rises to stray dogs on country roads. It feels as if they are all responding to a silent, universal signal. And all of this was just the beginning. The signs that emerged in the 2000s were merely the first wave of the prophecy. What was coming next was even more extraordinary. Picture this. You walk in the door after an exhausting, stressful day, and the moment your dog greets you, you feel that heavy weight just dissolve. This isn't your imagination. It's the physical manifestation of a new skill that dogs are mastering at an astonishing rate: the ability to act as living emotional filters. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, a biologist renowned for studying unexplained animal abilities, has spent over a decade collecting evidence of dogs acting in ways that defy conventional science. His research shows that dogs across the globe are developing a powerful capacity to sense and actively transform negative emotional energy. The most well-documented case involved the Miller family in Ohio. After they moved into a new house, the entire family suffered from anxiety and poor sleep. But their border collie, Charlie, started a bizarre nightly routine. He would patrol the house, pausing in specific spots, the same spots where the family later admitted they'd had tense arguments, and would lie down, breathing deeply. Charlie performed a kind of ritual, says Mark Miller. He would lay in a spot, let out a big sigh, and then shake his entire body as if he was shaking off a heavy coat. After he did his rounds, the atmosphere in the house felt lighter, clearer. We all slept peacefully. The family brought in a specialist who measures ambient electromagnetic fields, who confirmed that the areas where Charlie stopped had unusually chaotic energy patterns. Within a few weeks of Charlie's work, the specialist's readings and the family's own experience confirmed the house felt completely balanced. Hospitals and clinics see this with therapy dogs too. Nurses have noted that certain dogs will refuse to enter a patient's room if the emotional energy is too heavy. But after they do enter, the patients report a dramatic improvement, not just emotionally but physically. Holistic healers are now actively partnering with these gifted dogs. During therapy sessions for trauma release, some dogs have been observed to physically absorb the negative energy their clients are letting go of, often shaking, yawning, or panting to discharge it. Laura, a trauma therapist, works with her rescue dog Bodhi. Bodhi lies at my client's feet. When we touch upon a deep trauma, I can see Bodhi's body tense up as if he's processing it with them. Afterward, he'll go outside, run in a circle, shake vigorously, and come back totally reset. Homes that have suffered loss, breakups, or constant conflict report their dogs spontaneously start these clearing behaviors. They methodically walk the house, stopping at hotspots of emotional residue, and seem to be absorbing and neutralizing the psychic pain left behind. Some dogs are even developing the ability to transfer positive, calming energy through touch. Stories of people feeling an immediate sense of peace after a dog simply rests its paw on them have multiplied. It's not just a simple touch, people report. It feels like a conscious transfer of peace. The story of Gus, a mutt adopted by a social worker named Fernando, is a perfect example. Whenever a distressed client visited his home office, Gus would walk over and gently lay his head on the person's lap. Every single client reported feeling an instant wave of calm and clarity. Gus has an internal sensor for emotional pain, says Fernando. He is never wrong, and after he gives his treatment, people always leave looking lighter, feeling better. This canine spiritual mission isn't just about cleaning up energy, it's also about active protection. Many dogs are now developing the ability to shield their homes and families from negative external energies. They can sense when people with ill intentions are near and seem to create an energetic perimeter around their home. Social media is now a daily fire hose of videos showing dogs doing the impossible. Dogs that appear from nowhere to push a child out of the way of a car. Dogs that wake up a whole family moments before a silent fire breaks out. Animals finding lost people against all odds. These are not just feel-good stories. They are evidence of Casey's third wave intensifying all around us. A case that captured global attention happened in March 2023. A mutt puppy named Baya began barking uncontrollably in the middle of the night, scratching at her owner's bedroom door. The family, annoyed, thought she just needed to go out, but Baya ran straight to the room of their 6-month-old baby and continued barking. When the parents got to the crib, the baby was not breathing, his face blue. Doctors later said that if Baya hadn't intervened, the child would not have survived. The incredible part, Baya had never been protective before that night. It's as if her guardian programming was activated at the precise moment it was most needed. Let me know in the comments, has your dog ever done something like this? An act of protection or rescue that you simply cannot explain? Dr. James Serpell, a director at the University of Pennsylvania Center for Animal Society Interaction, has collected over 200 such accounts. His research concludes that what we're seeing is more than just instinct. These dogs display what we can only call a precognitive awareness. Dr. Serpell explains, they are reacting to something before there are any physical clues. It's as if they are tapping into a different stream of information. The phenomenon is even clearer when dogs save total strangers. In October 2023, a German shepherd named Thor broke out of his yard and ran 3 blocks to a building site. He started barking relentlessly at the crew, preventing them from walking under a specific section of scaffolding. 20 minutes later, that exact structure collapsed. Thor had never run off before, his owner stated. He had no reason to know anything was wrong over there. It was like he was sent on a mission. Before we continue, I invite you to join the Quantum Thinking Challenge. It's a 21-day program to rewire your mind, elevate your vibration, and unlock your full energetic power. For 3 weeks, you'll get daily practices to shift your frequency and start magnetizing your desires. Find the link in the top pinned comment. Now, imagine you're just thinking about leaving work to go home, and your dog, miles away, is already sitting by the front door waiting. Or you're feeling a wave of sadness, hiding it from everyone, and your dog suddenly appears and puts their head in your lap. This is not fantasy. This is telepathy, and it's happening between you and your dog. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake conducted the largest study ever on animal telepathy. Over a decade, he gathered over 4,000 cases of dogs that could read their owners' minds and intentions at a distance. The findings were so conclusive, they shattered our conventional understanding of how animals communicate. Sheldrake's most famous test subject was a terrier named JT, who unfailingly knew when his owner, Pam Smart, was coming home. Pam had an unpredictable work schedule and took different routes home every day. Yet video cameras in the house proved that JT would go to the window and wait at the exact moment Pam made the decision to come home. Not when she got in her car, but when the thought to return home formed in her mind. We studied JT for 2 years. Sheldrake reported, it made no difference if Pam was on a bus, in a car, or walking. It didn't matter if she was early or late. JT always knew the exact second her intention was formed. This telepathic link isn't just about detecting emotions. Dogs are now showing they can understand specific mental commands. Sarah Johnson, a Los Angeles dog trainer, ran an experiment where she instructed owners to simply think commands while looking at their dogs. The results were staggering. Sarah reports, the dogs responded to unspoken commands like sit, stay, and come with 78% accuracy. What's most fascinating is that this telepathy is not bound by distance. Members of the US military have shared hundreds of stories of their dogs back home, reacting to dangers they were facing on battlefields thousands of miles away. Corporal James Mitchell reported that his dog Buster, who was stateside, would refuse to eat on the exact days he was engaged in heavy combat in Afghanistan. My wife kept a log of the days Buster wouldn't eat. When I got home and we compared it to my journal, the dates matched perfectly. At Duke University, neuroscientists are investigating the mechanics of this communication. Using simultaneous MRI scans, they found stunning patterns of brainwave synchronization between dogs and their owners. We can see their brains sync up even when they are in separate, soundproof rooms, explains lead researcher Dr. Michael Chen. It suggests a shared frequency, a channel of communication that operates outside the known senses. This telepathic bond even extends to our dreams. Countless people report having vivid dreams where their dog appears to warn them about something or to deliver a message of comfort, which later connects to a real life event. Have you ever stopped to wonder, why is all this happening now? Why are dogs everywhere suddenly awakening to these god-like abilities that seemed like pure fantasy just a generation ago? The answer is tied to something far bigger than just the dogs themselves. It's connected to a vibrational shift of our entire planet, one that Edgar Cayce predicted with absolute precision. Cayce's reading stated that in the early 21st century, the Earth itself would begin a new phase of its evolution, triggering an acceleration in consciousness for all life here. He called it the Great Awakening, a time when both humans and animals would unlock dormant spiritual skills to help navigate the immense changes of this planetary transition. When humanity is tested by its greatest trials, Cayce said in 1943, the four-legged guardians will awaken to serve as guides and protect us through the passage to the new earth. They will be beacons of pure love in an age of fear. Dr. David Hawkins, a psychiatrist who researched levels of consciousness, created a scale to measure humanity's collective energy field. His work shows that since the year 2000, human consciousness has taken an unprecedented leap, moving from a baseline of survival and fear towards spiritual awareness at a speed that should have taken centuries. We are watching evolution happen in real time, explains Dr. Hawkins' Foundation. And animals, especially dogs, are mirroring this vibrational leap by activating abilities that connect them directly to the human heart. The timing is impossible to miss. The first major wave of reports about special canine abilities started pouring in right after 2001, a moment when the world experienced a massive collective shock. It was as if a cosmic switch was flipped, activating the dog's spiritual mission. Researchers at the HeartMath Institute found that major global events, especially traumatic ones, produce measurable electromagnetic waves that ripple across the planet's magnetic field. These waves don't just affect human emotion, they trigger evolutionary adaptations in animals that are closely bonded with us. Dogs act as living antennas for these planetary frequency shifts, explains Dr. Rand McCready of HeartMath. They are literally responding to energies that our science is just now learning to detect. The 2020 pandemic was another massive trigger for the canine awakening. Veterinarians worldwide saw an explosion in strange, psychic-like behaviors in dogs during the global lockdowns. Dogs that had always been ordinary began showing powers of emotional detection, energy healing, and even foreboding. It was as if the sheer intensity of collective human emotion activated something latent within them, said Dr. Sandra Molina, a veterinarian in Madrid. I saw more cases of psychic canine phenomena in those 2 years than in the previous 2 decades of my career. But it's not just about trauma. Positive global events, mass meditations, worldwide celebrations, spiritual movements also create energetic tides that amplify these canine abilities. During major solar eclipses, supermoons, and other celestial events, research centers report huge spikes in telepathic and healing behaviors in dogs. Quantum physicists theorize that dogs may be tapping into what they call the morphogenetic field, a non-local web of information that connects all living beings. As we humans raise our own frequency through crisis and spiritual seeking, dogs automatically tune into this higher vibration. Dogs have always been sensitive to subtle energies, explains quantum physicist Dr. Amit Goswami, but as human consciousness expands, they are now able to access levels of quantum information that allow them to function as true bridges between dimensions. Our digital world also plays a role. The very technology that links billions of human minds is creating a planetary electromagnetic soup that enhances a dog's natural psychic gifts. They are literally surfing the waves of our global conversation. Spiritual centers and monasteries report that their resident dogs are now synchronizing their behavior with global meditation events. During moments like global peace prayers, these dogs will spontaneously enter a deep, calm state. Our dogs are like living barometers of planetary consciousness, says a teacher at a Buddhist center. When humanity comes together with a positive focus, our dogs respond instantly, radiating a peace that magnifies the collective field. Astrologers point to this era as a great transition, a time prophesied by many ancient cultures where consciousness itself transforms. Dogs, as beings who are naturally in tune with Earth's rhythms, are here to act as our guides and stabilizers. Dogs are the first to catch the new frequencies coming to the planet, says astrologer Maria Helena Ramallo. They are modeling for us what the next stage of our own evolution looks like: more telepathic, more empathic, more connected energetically. The environmental crisis has also triggered a collective preservation instinct in dogs. They seem to understand at a soul level that their own spiritual development is tied to our survival. Evolutionary biologists call this accelerated symbiotic evolution, where two species rapidly co-evolve in response to extreme pressure, each developing new traits to help the other survive. Dogs are evolving to be our conscious partners in facing these global challenges, concludes evolutionary biologist Dr. Lynn Margulis. They are developing the exact skills we need most: intuition, healing, advanced warning, and unconditional emotional support to get us through this. The canine awakening is not a random event. It is a piece of a much larger cosmic symphony, preparing us all for a new kind of existence. Dogs have chosen to be our guides, our healers, and our protectors during this critical moment of change. This is why so many of us feel that our dogs chose us, that they came to us with a purpose, that they are so much more than just a dog, because they are. They are our partners in the greatest evolutionary leap that consciousness on Earth has ever known. Edgar Cayce's prophecy wasn't a warning about the future. It was a user's manual for the present. Right now, as you listen to my voice, millions of dogs across the planet are operating as conscious bridges between worlds, as energy healers, and as spiritual guardians for their human families. The question is no longer, is this happening? The question is, what will you do about it? If you have a dog, you must begin to understand that you are living with a master. Recent studies suggest that over 70% of dog owners have witnessed at least one special ability in their pet that they initially dismissed as a coincidence. Learning to recognize and actively nurture these gifts can change everything. It can open a channel of communication you never dreamed was possible. The first step is to become a better observer. Start looking for patterns beyond basic instinct. Does your dog suddenly appear at your side right when a sad memory pops into your head? Do they get agitated minutes before an unexpected guest knocks on the door? Do they pay special attention to one spot on your body, a place that you later realize is sore or tense? These are not coincidences. These are spiritual signals. Dr. Patricia Goodman, a pioneer in animal communication, suggests a simple exercise to identify telepathic ability. When your dog is in another room, try calling them with only your mind. See if they react to your emotions, even when your face is neutral. These are clear signs of an active telepathic connection. To help these abilities grow stronger, create daily moments of conscious connection. For just 10 minutes a day, sit quietly with your dog, put down your phone, turn off the TV, make gentle eye contact, and just send them thoughts of gratitude and love. People who do this simple practice report a massive increase in telepathic understanding with their animals. And for those of you who don't have a dog yet, be open. Be ready to recognize when a special guide is trying to enter your life. Dogs with these advanced spiritual missions often choose their families through incredible synchronicities. They seem to just appear when you need them most, or you feel an instant magnetic pull towards a specific animal at a shelter. This new reality is even creating new professions. Animal communicators, human canine energy healers, and telepathic training coaches are now in high demand. Technology is also adapting, with apps designed to track the energetic synchronicity between you and your dog. Your dog might be one of those disguised masters Casey saw in his visions, and you might be one of the souls who chose to partner with them in this incredible transformation that is redefining life on this planet.